Hey bitches, it's been almost 4 years since I've talked about my mental health on YouTube, which is crazy. I do talk about it more on my Instagram, but I haven't done anything on here for a really long time, so that's my bad. Also, the last video I did, I just watched it back. Did I film that on a Nokia? Like, it's so bad. But I'm back with a better iPhone, and hopefully I won't drag this out as much as I think I did in that last video. So I'm going to try and speed run. In that video, I was saying I have BPD and I was struggling with COVID, which everybody did. It wasn't just me. And that was kind of all I really talked about. Oh, and that I didn't want to get therapy again. I wanted to see if I could deal with things on my own. So since then, probs don't have BPD, haha, so funny, and also have had more therapy. Like 3. So it's safe to say I kind of went a bit downhill, I would say. It was almost like I had a really good high in 2019, and then it just kind of slowly came crashing and burning down. And I think we know why, and I'll get into that, but basically when I started visiting the UK more, because my partner lives in the UK, I started seeing another therapist because I was like, oh, turns out I can't do all this by myself, which you should never try to do it all by yourself. I don't know why I was being so stubborn about that. So I started seeing this therapist, and she was fine, she was nice, but she said, I'm not sure you have BPD, I think you might have other things, and I think you should probably explore getting a formal diagnosis, because if you didn't know, I never actually got a formal diagnosis for BPD. A doctor was just like, yeah, you got it. What do you want me to do about it? And I was like, well, I don't know. So yeah, this therapist was like, I think it'd be really good for you to get a diagnosis, and then we can kind of go from there on what treatment you need, because right now I don't really know what's going on. Fair enough, right? She's the professional. So I went to the GP and I was like, hey, looking for a diagnosis, one diagnosis, please. And he was like, all right, I will put you on the wait list. Ah! So I went on the wait list, and I waited. And I'm still waiting. But I was also just curious how the diagnostic process went. And fuck it, right? What have I got to lose? It could only help me, I think. So had my GP appointment, filled out a few things, then I was on a waiting list, then I got a video assessment, pre-assessment, not my official assessment. And then she was like, oh, it can now be up to another year until you get your formal assessment, which is in person, and then they can give you your diagnosis. It's a very weird, long, drawn-out process, apparently. And obviously the NHS is the cow's about to jump. Obviously, they're underfunded and overbusy, and it's crazy, so, you know, I get it. It's just very, very long. I had stopped seeing that therapist actually before I went for the to the GP. I think she was more of a counsellor, which is not what I need. And I've had counselling before, and so I've done all of that. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, she was fine, she helped me, but then I was like, okay, I'm good, I'm good. And so I was gonna wait until I got the NHS therapy, but they were like, yeah, the waits are really long. And I was like, okay, well, I'm really bad, so I'm just gonna get a private one temporarily until I can get the NHS one, which is really crap that I had to do that, because not many people are in a position to get a private therapist. So that was really disappointing, but I had to do it. So I got a private therapist, and she's great. I'm still seeing her, love her. She's been helping me a lot, making me understand things more. I think my previous therapists were all, I don't know why BPD is right here. For some reason in my head it's right. All of my previous therapists were all BPD focused, whereas this one isn't, and she's kind of exploring other things that could be wrong with me. So yeah, love her, she's great. Then I got a call from the NHS therapy people, like, oh, you've been on the wait list for like 5 months, here's some therapy. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So they do video therapy, and they are giving me a course of high intensity cognitive behavioral therapy, which I've never actually had before, which is crazy. And so I was like, well, guess I'm double dipping. So I'm double dipping. I have one on one day and then one on another day. So, and they're completely different therapies, which has been interesting, to say the least. So yeah, at the moment I'm double dipping, I got double therapy. And I think it's helping. Was definitely in a hole, I would say, for a while. Very, very sad, very depressed, wanting to relapse, just having a really terrible time, and all my usual, tools that I'd been given by previous therapists were either not working, or I just didn't even have the motivation to do them. And it was really tough too, because we bought a house, we moved into this house, and that should have been like the best thing ever, and I should have been so happy. But unfortunately, that's just not how mental health works. It doesn't really matter, your circumstances, of course they matter, but at the end of the day, the brain is going to do what the brain wants to do. And being back in England has made me realise how severe my seasonal affective disorder is. Like, Jesus Christ, it's been sunny the past few days in the UK, and I'm like, bye therapists, don't need you, never needed you. But like, that's crazy. Do you know what I mean? I also think, like, circumstantially, the world is just incredibly shit right now, and I feel very hopeless, and my job has not been going amazingly, but it's the same for everybody. So money's been a bit of an issue as well. So like, circumstantially, there are reasons for me to be feeling this way, but then at the same time, it was just so extreme and just so bad. So anyway, I think we're on the mend, and that's not just because it was sunny. Yeah, so that's my update. When I get my formal assessment for the diagnosis, I will be posting about it on my Instagram, and then when I get the formal diagnosis, I'll probably make another video all about that, because I don't want to talk about that right now until it's on paper. So, hope this was what you wanted it to be. I hope your mental health is doing okay. Don't ever be afraid to reach out for help. Don't try and do it on your own. It's just not necessary. There is so much help out there, even if you do have to wait a few months. And I did just want to put a little bit of information here for my people in the UK. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, because I'm not anywhere else in the world. In the UK, you can find a private therapist on a website called psychologytoday.com. That's where you can find private therapy, which you do have to pay for, but as an emergency, that is a really good tool. For me, a website called Therapy for You is how I got on the wait list for NHS therapy, and I know that they help with things like depression, anxiety, phobias, stuff like that. Yeah, those are the 2 tools that I have used and have been working for me, and I just wanted to share that. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll update you when I have an update. Goodbye.